Let me guess you made something you actually liked. Then you scroll on Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, and you find a beat that sounded suspiciously similar but somehow better. And now you're asking yourself, do I actually have my own sound? Am I just renting one?
Give me rent.
In 2026, everyone has the same plugins, the same sample packs, the same references, and somehow we're still being told to be original. So today I want to talk to you about how to steal like an artist and find your own sound as a musician or producer without deleting your door and moving to a cabin, Bon Iver style. Let's start about killing the #1 biggest myth in music production. Your sound is not something you discover one night at 3 AM after buying a new plugin, cracking some software. If that was true, we'd all have it by now. Your sound isn't a preset, and it's definitely not the result of watching one more YouTube tutorial titled, "This Changed Everything." The boring truth is your sound is just your taste repeated consistently. In 2026, the problem isn't that originality is dead. It's that we're exposed to too much too quickly, so we never sit with our own thoughts long enough. And let's not pretend this is entirely your fault. It certainly isn't mine. Algorithms reward familiarity, and most producers learn by copying whatever is trending at this time. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if your inspiration comes from what's currently trending, you're not finding your sound. You're speedrunning someone else's. You will always be chasing the sound instead of leading, which is why so many musicians and producers make music that is perfectly good, emotionally fine, but totally interchangeable. And here's the part nobody likes to hear. Your sound doesn't come from infinite choices, all the plugins, all the softwares. It actually comes from limitations. Some of the most iconic music ever made was due to limitations. Early hip-hop had limited gear, relying on samples and drum machines. Punk had no budget, and that was the sound. And electronic music started with machines that barely even worked. In today's day and age, that may look like always reaching for the same chord extensions and being obsessed with the drums, the textures, or the melody. That's not a flaw, it's not boring, it's not lazy. I would say it's the beginning of your fingerprint on your own music. This might sound backwards, but the harder you try to be unique, the more you actually sound like someone who's trying to be unique, which may mean like a random ass fucking genre switch, weird choices for the sake of weird choices, and calling it experimental just so nobody questions it. Trust me, I've done all three. Your sound actually shows up when you make the same choices subconsciously, break the same rules repeatedly, accidentally build a pattern you swear you didn't mean to, and gravitate towards the same moods without necessarily forcing it. You actually can't decide your sound. Your habits decide your sound for you. And once you accept that, everything gets way easier. And just like sampling, influence isn't cheating. Every artist you love is a very specific combination of other music and the era they exist in. Tyler didn't invent Igor in isolation, Kanye didn't invent sampling, and Aphex Twin didn't invent sounding like the computer's fucking haunted. They filtered their influences through taste, obsession, and repetition. Your job is to sound honest enough so that people recognize you. The most popular videos on my channels are all artist remakes and then making beats in that style. I'd pick an artist, I'd research them thoroughly, I'd study their songs, remake one of their popular tracks, and then make 1 or 2 original tracks using what I had learned. And honestly, this is probably the best and most important music production trick I have ever done. By analyzing an artist's sound like this, I was seeing where those sounds, where those patterns, where those ideas initially came from. For example, I could see their influences: Tyler the Creator and Pharrell, Tame Impala's 70s rock groups, the Neptunes and Michael Jackson, Steve Lacy and Prince. I could hear how all of these artists borrowed techniques, ideas, and feelings from the people before, and then totally transformed them into something new. But more importantly, I started noticing sonic consistency. The same chord progressions coming up again and again, the same drum patterns, the same types of synths and instruments, and the key thing here, I only did this with artists I was genuinely excited about. And especially now, this is easier than ever with apps like Moises.ai. If you're studying music, breaking down songs, and trying to see why certain things work, Moises.ai is genuinely one of the most useful tools you can have. Moises lets you take songs and separate them into stems, vocals, drums, bass, instruments, so you can hear what's actually going on under the hood. And this is huge when you're analyzing artists. You can isolate drum grooves, study bass movement, hear chord progressions clearly, slow tracks down, change keys without destroying the audio. So instead of guessing how a song was made, you can actually listen to it. I personally have used it to study drum patterns, figure out chord movements, and hear how different elements interact without everything stacked on top of each other. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. Big thanks to Moises.ai for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. And over time, something clicked. I realized I didn't want to sound exactly like any of these artists. I just love specific parts of what they did. I love Tyler's chord progressions. I love McGee's unconventional way of playing guitar. I love Tame Impala's drums and vocal melodies, and I love DJ Dahi's production choices. Once I noticed that, everything changed. When I started making music myself, I already know what I was drawn to. I knew which elements I wanted to keep seeing in my work. And by combining all of those influences, the techniques, the energy, the feelings, I wasn't actually copying anyone anymore. I was making things that only existed because I liked all of these individual things. And just so we're clear, this isn't a secret trick. Every single artist does this. Whether that's film, art, TV, music, you name it. It's not cheating, it's how music moves forward and evolves. But don't get this twisted. There's a huge difference between copying one artist's style and pulling influences from multiple artists to create something genuinely new, and that feels authentic to you. If you copy one artist's sound, all you've done is make a worse version of someone who already exists. They'll always do it better than you because it's their identity. So don't be a cover artist. Steal the feeling, steal the inspiration, steal the energy and the techniques, but don't steal the whole sound. So here's what I want you to do. Pick 5 to 10 artists, listen to their music properly, intentionally, repeatedly, and write down what you like about their music. It could be the chords, their drum patterns, their melodies, their sonic choices, and then start implementing some of those ideas into your own pieces. This part never really ends. Your taste will just keep evolving, and that's the whole point. Eventually, you'll stop chasing other people's sounds and start making music that actually feels like you. That's where innovation happens, and that's how you find your own sound.